Let's get a check of the top business news stories. I'm joined by our business editor, Kate Moody. Kate, we've been talking quite a bit about this ongoing standoff between the UK and the EU over that all-important post-Brexit trade deal. What are the currency markets making of all of this?
Well, Tom, whatever jitters are being felt in political circles are really being amplified on the markets. The pound sterling is the key barometer for Brexit risk on the markets, and it's dropped against both the euro and the dollar today. It had been down about over 1% against each, the biggest one-day drop against the euro since September. It's pared back those losses slightly now. It's trading just above $1.33 and €1.10. Now, there's been a certain amount of complacency amongst investors about Brexit in recent months, that assumption that negotiators would somehow manage to hammer out an agreement by that all-important December 31st deadline. Now they're not so sure. JP Morgan is among those that has raised its odds of a no-deal Brexit. It's raised it from 20 to just over 30% now. And so we're likely to see a return to that sort of whiplash trading where every headline or tweet is immediately reflected on the markets. Let's take a listen to Michael Houston of CMC Markets.
The market is very nervous about the prospect of a no deal, seeing weakness in sterling. We're seeing a little bit of weakness in an awful lot of the UK-centric stocks like banks and house builders and what have you. A no deal Brexit is not priced in. What's priced in is some form of fudge, some form of deal, or an extension or something along those lines. Neither side can afford a no deal Brexit. The French fishermen can't afford a no deal Brexit.
Okay, so weaknesses in sterling on the back of that nervousness. But Kate, just tell us a bit more about how the other markets are performing.
Well, we saw a mostly lower close for the major European indices, Tom. The CAC 40 was down about 2/3 of a percentage point here in Paris. The Frankfurt DAX losing about a fifth. London's FTSE 100 closed very, very slightly above the flat line. UK stocks often rise when the pound is weaker because that can benefit some of the major corporations that export and trade there, that inverse correlation that we often see there. Shares of Société Générale were down about 3% here in Paris, as that French bank said it would be closing 600 locations as it pushes ahead with a merger. Wall Street's also mixed. The Dow Jones and S&P 500 have both slipped into the red this hour. This as the soar, and lawmakers there remain deadlocked over another round of stimulus or emergency aid for households and businesses.
Okay, and there is a little bit of optimism out there that, we're talking about vaccines and perhaps a return to some semblance of normality next year after a very abnormal year. But Kate, some major industry events, they're not counting on that, are they?
No, and we've seen a raft of cancellations or postponements in all sorts of sectors. The latest coming in today is about the World Economic Forum's special annual meeting. It's the event that we often refer to just simply as Davos, but that's because it takes place usually in that snowy Swiss ski resort of Davos in the month of January. The organization now saying that next year's gathering will be pushed back to May, and it'll be taking place in Singapore for the first time ever. A considerable portion of the gatherings are likely to be digital, but organizers do say that leadership summits like Davos that bring together the public and private sectors are going to really be key in helping economies to recover in the coming months. Meanwhile, the 2021 Paris scheduled for June has been called off altogether this Monday. It's arguably the biggest event of the year for the aviation industry. Billions of euros worth of deals are finalized and announced there. The industry, of course, has been among the hardest hit by the pandemic. Both manufacturers and carriers have announced tens of thousands of layoffs. Global passenger volumes are still about 60% lower than they were a year ago. The next Paris Air Show now set to take place in 2023. By that time, expect passenger levels to have recovered to their pre-pandemic levels.
Okay, well, thank you very much indeed for that update on all the goings on in the world of business. Our business editor, Kate Moody, thank you.